Hi everybody, Sean Balcom, Southeast Michigan Mortgage Guy, and today I want to talk to you about how to get ready to buy a home. So if you're thinking about buying a home and you don't know where to start, let's get you going. So step number one is know your budget. If you currently rent and you're able to save 10 to 20% of your income and pay your rent and all your other bills, that's usually a good place to start. You do not want to go by the maximum that a lender approves you for, because we are only looking at the debts on your credit report, such as student loans, auto loans, credit cards, and then your new mortgage payment. We aren't looking at childcare, utilities, food, and these things can vary wildly. So make sure you are comfortable with your payment, not just your lender. Second of all, you want to check your credit. If you want to get approved for a conventional loan, while the minimum score is technically 620, typically, to get an actual approval from an underwriting system with a lender, you're going to need to be at 680 or higher to get the best interest rate. You really want to be up around 660 or 760. For FHA, you can get approved with as little as a 580 credit score, and some lenders even lower. However, the lower the score, the higher the rate. When checking your credit, you want to use myfico.com, and you want to get the 5, 4, and 2 mortgage scores. None of the other scores that I see my clients get match what we actually pull. General credit advice: you want to pay down your debt, avoid opening new accounts. You do want to fix any errors. Like disputing your credit report to get a temporary bump in the score is not necessarily the answer, as we do look at accounts with dispute, and some lenders will make you take the accounts out of dispute before you can close, which usually drops the score. So keep your credit cards low. And also, a new thing we're advising is try not to do any of the pay-as-you-go accounts. So when we're all purchasing things online, you'll see something like pay this with company X in 6 easy installments. You're going to have to get documentation on every single one of those when you go apply for your mortgage. So I would avoid that. For a down payment and closing costs, you want to save up as much as you can. How much you actually put down, we are seeing first-time home buyers sometimes get into houses for as little as $2 or $3 grand if they're able to get down payment assistance. Generally, if you have $15,000 at your disposal, you can get into a house as a first-time buyer and not need any kind of assistance or concessions from a seller. But again, I see people routinely get into houses for between $2,000 to $5,000. You can use a gift. You cannot borrow this money though. Fourth, you want to get your documents ready. So make sure your tax returns are filed, and if you owe any back due money to the IRS, then you get that paid, or at least into an installment agreement. You're going to need your pay stubs, at least your last 2, and you're going to need your W-2s, and you're going to need your bank statements. For W-2s, you're going to need 2 years. So gather all those up, because you want to send them to your lender. Some lenders will just do a pre-qualification. Maybe they pull a credit report. Technically, a pre-qualification can be done without really any verification at all. A lender can just have a conversation with you and give you that letter. As you can imagine, that letter is only as good as the information that was given to the lender. You want to get pre-approved. You want the lender to go through all the questions, get your documentation, get it to underwriting, or at least through desktop underwriting, and make sure you have a reputable lender, and then they will give you a pre-approval letter, and then they're going to go over your budget. And then at that time, you should also be focused on property taxes, homeowners insurance. Let's get an idea of what a house is really going to cost you. So to get a house and get closed, you're going to need your team. You're going to need your loan officer. You're going to need your real estate agent. You'll need other people, home inspector, insurance agent, but generally we can find those for you. But do your own research. Everybody in the process is generally getting paid and they're making money. So to protect yourself, you always want to do your research. And any professional in the industry is going to understand that. So, all right, those are the tips for getting ready to buy a house. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, and you can always reach out to me at my link in the bio, and have a great day. Thanks.